You already know. Sure. If you didn't know.
The devil's advocates whisper in the hall, where justice wears a mask and truth begins to fall. Every thread they pull, every lie they weave, in the courtroom's dance, who's left to believe? Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight. A photograph fades where the truth once stood. Blurred lines between the bad and the good. The scales they tilt with every silver tongue, while the broken cry for a song unsung. Black robes sway like shadows on the wall. One wrong word and the mighty fall. Who's a sinner? Who's a saint? The jury's out, but the verdict's faint. Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to know why I'm here today? It's not because I want to give you a pep talk or because I want to make you feel good about yourselves. No, I'm here to tell you the truth.
Maybe I can unmute my own microphone. Working sometimes from a laptop is a pain in the ass. Welcome, everybody. Welcome in tonight. Thanks for coming to the Devil's Advocates Crimes After Dark show. Can I get at least one? Can I get one on the screen to let me know that we have sound? That would be a good thing. And then I'll go through some introductions. Well, thank you. All right, good enough. One is sufficient. Thank you. One. All right. Inside joke. That's what we do here. We're full of inside jokes. Welcome to everybody who came in tonight. Thank you so much for giving us 20 people waiting for the show to start. That's exciting. Like, I used to get mad because not mad. Well, maybe. I don't know. Sometimes I have a bad attitude. I'm like, how come some other creators have like 100 people waiting backstage before they even turn the mic on? And I only peak at 100. I'm trying to get over that shit. It doesn't really matter. The point being, I'm so glad that you're here tonight. I'm excited about hanging out with our denizens, as we're starting to call it. I thought we had somebody else coined that name. Now I'm because I saw something in the chat tonight. Now I'm not sure if we gave the right credit to the right person who came up with the denizens, which is a great name. We call our chat sometimes the den, and then someone said the denizens, and I'm like, that's freaking phenomenal. That's awesome. We may or may not coin that phrase, whatever the case may be. Thanks for being here, being part of the den and the chat. I want to say hi to some people. Real T, is that Real T with Christy and Marie? Welcome, and you had a long, huge thing. I'm so glad that you got to make a live. Thanks for making it here. Essie, as always. Penny from Idaho, welcome in. We got Robin, of course, backstage. We also, let's see, backstage we have Robin, our panelist, co-producer of the show. We've got One. We've got Essie from Jason Essie's from Essie's Crime Maze. We have Joe from State of the Deep. We've got a full panel as usual. I don't know how these guys find time. I tell them make it when you can, and they're here every single night. So that's amazing for me and for you that we get to have our panelists on here on a regular basis. Now I know that eventually they're going to get busy, just like as I'm going to get busy, and then people are going to be like, DA, are you even on your own show? Because I missed 2 nights in a row and somebody said that. Like, DA, I come to your show and you're not there. Like, do you even do your own show? Anyways, we're going to set that aside for a minute. Cheryl Fitzgerald from the East Coast, Florida. Welcome in tonight. Let's see who else we got. Amanda B with great graphics. By the way, I'm trying to debate whether to show off something very cool that Amanda made. You know how we have this panel and then Amanda B made us this really cool splash screen. In fact, can I pull up the splash screen? I didn't load that asset. Let me see if I can pull this out of my assets. Give me a second to see what the humor I did there. That's how I work. That's how I roll. I'm going to pull this out of my assets. Let's see if I can find this. Did I have the day, where's the devil advocate? She's got, oh my gosh, I need to be able to see. Is this it? I feel like this is it. No, I better not put something on the screen unless I absolutely know what I'm putting on. Oh, here. That's not it either. Fuck it, we'll do it live. We're gonna cut that out to the side. But she made a cool splash screen with all of us as kind of cartoon characters, and then she made this really cool sizzler. I think it's kind of funny. Like I debated whether to show the sizzler ahead of time, but I'm gonna tease the sizzler anyways. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Let me remove this from stage. Let me see. Add this to the stage. That is just badass. That did play, right? You got the sound on that and everything. Nod backstage if you heard that sound, right? Okay, perfect. Very cool. So I'm fumble fucking my way through this. Let me go ahead and start bringing our panelists up. We'll talk about what the channel's about, what's on tap for the night, all that good stuff. So let me see if I can put people on stage one at a time and kind of introduce us. Oh wait, this might put more than one at a time on here. Oh yeah. So now I'm just going to do it this way. I'm going to add everybody right now because I'm cluster effing myself through this show. And then I got to unmute everybody's mic. Bzz, 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 bzz. Oh, righty then. I think that's the full panel. That, ladies and gentlemen, what you're looking at is affectionately the Devil's Advocates team, the superheroes. I don't have all of your nicknames memorized, but Robin, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you. Great to see everyone.
Yes, always good to see you. And I know that a lot of people don't realize Robin and I are in touch multiple times a day, all throughout the day. So sometimes it's a little awkward for me to ask her how she's doing. However, you don't know what she's been up to. So I'd like to give you a chance to say things like that as well. But it's good to see you again, as always. One from NYPD, not representing NYPD, but just happens to be NYPD, who gives us a lot of insights on things related to how an investigation should go, what crime scenes should look like, even when they don't look like that in the case of the Idaho 4 and things like that. How you doing tonight, One?
I'm good. How is everyone doing in the den? How are you doing, Robin? Long time no talk.
Yeah, right.
Good evening, Esty. Good evening, JJ.
What's up?
Yeah, so I speaking of JJ, let's go to Joe. So JJ, he writes by JJ on the Substack article, the Substack page, I should say, stateofthedeepsubstack.com. But we affectionately call him Joe because well, that's what I do. I call him Joe, Cup of Joe. Joe, how you doing tonight? You living the dream?
I'm good. I'm great. How's everybody doing? Hi, 1-1. Hi, Robin. Jason Esty, DA, Dan, what's up?
I was listening to some of our footage from Idaho 4 again, and I posted it today. There was that moment where you and I are like freaking two 15-year-old boys joking about that's what she said. Like, that's the oldest joke in the book. That's what she said. And we both laughed, like genuine belly laughs at that's what she said. Like, we'd never heard this joke before. I think that's funny. I think it's a beautiful thing when you don't lose the humor. Even when you're an old man, you still find jokes like that's what she said funny. Anyways, Jason Estes, how you doing today?
Well, I'm feeling outstanding. I'm trying to remember the late Hugh Hefner wearing this red outfit, but we can forget that. Once again, I want to thank our over 20. I got an echo here. I'm going to have to just 1 second.
We can always count on Estes to have some technical difficulties on the way. Oh, now we got nothing. Point taken. Now we got nothing. Got nothing.
He's being extracted out. He's extracted.
Oh, the extraction specialist has been extracted from the show. That is classic. You can't beat that. That's amazing. All right, so let's see. I'm going to look at the chat, make sure we haven't missed anything. I hope we can say hi to most of everybody. Open your peepers, by the way. I didn't say hi when you were coming in. Dadgum Johnny Gable's dead floozy mother. A mouthful, but worth it. And let's see what else is in here. Cat's Mojo is also a regular in the house. Thanks, Cats, for coming. I think I gave Cat's Mojo the credit for the Denizens, but then somebody else said, "Hey, you like my Denizens?" I'm like, who coined the Denizens? I'm not going to start a fight. Don't get into it. Anyways, we got Estes backstage. Should we give him another shot, or does that guy already like worn out? Does he get one strike here? Oh, wait a minute. I've got multiple cameras of his that are not showing. So
He got extracted.
He's a magician.
I feel bad because I'm going to kick him from the studio. If I kick him, if you want to prevent this person from rejoining, you should ban them instead. Well, I'm not going to ban him. I'm going to kick him from the studio. I'm going to
Let's all chip in and get him an online class on how to set up his gear.
Wait. Now he's going to get to defend himself. Can you
Hello?
hear us? Are you can
Hello?
you hear us?
Can the audience hear me?
Hello.
I assume they can.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Oh, hell
Hello,
yeah.
Dan. Again, this is Estes Crime May. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but to over the 20 people that are listening at this beginning, I want to give a quick intro. Again, thank our amazing audience. Thank you for being here. Again, put on your slippers, maybe your house coat, sit by the fire, grab a cup of hot Java, and get ready for another cacophony cavalcade conversation with the best guests, the best co-producer, and certainly, I believe, the best creator in all of YouTube, the most thought-provoking, entertaining true crime channel out there. Let's get into it. I can't hear you when you respond after I stop rambling, but if that's okay, we'll try to fix the technical difficulties later. I'll be watching and trying to listen to you guys. Thank you.
That's, we should have him do the intro all the time. He's like that guy from the boxing thing. And it's time. It's fighting in this corner. Damn. That's Estes for us. That's amazing. Well, it's good. It's good to see you as always. Even when you fumble your way through the technical stuff, that brings joy to my life. And so I'm gonna spend a few minutes here, kind of introducing a few things, doing a little bit of monologue, and then we'll get back to the panel. So I'm gonna bring myself on stage for a moment. Oh, you know what? I'm going to bring all of us on stage with this instead. See, I told you, I'm just kind of fumbling my way through life. Like, that's what I do. I just fumble my way through life. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to put this on here. All righty then. Yes, I'm full of like 80s and 90s and whatever pop references. All right, so our show has nightly lives at 6 p.m. Most of the time, I would like to say 85% of the time I'm going to be on the lives one night a week on Sundays. I think the crew here, the advocates team, is mostly planning on keeping the show going on Sunday night at 6 p.m. However, I have a weekly obligation with friends to play cards on Sundays, and so I'm going to take Sundays off. It's my day to take off. And so I'm going to take Sundays off most of the time. Sometimes I might pop in, but other than that, I should be here. However, I'm going to do a little caveat. I'm putting boots on the ground in different cases. And so from time to time, I will be out in the field. I will try to dial into my own show whenever humanly possible, but sometimes technical difficulties and or the itinerary went to shit. I'm not going to be in the right place at the right time with a Wi-Fi connection. And so sometimes you're going to not have me here. So just keep in mind, I do intend to be at my shows most of the time. We have collaborations in the work. I've got a big thing for you. I don't want to tell you about it yet. Not that I'm trying to be that dick who's trying to like tease something that you never know about, but the reason why I'm being a little sketchy with it is I've got a good collaboration in the background that is happening. I'm super excited about it. We're going to record in a few days, and then we're going to premiere that on their channel and my channel. But I don't want to announce who it is until that premiere is recorded, just because I want a warm fuzzy that they liked what they got and I liked what I got, and everyone's happy. And then I will tell you so that we can let people know ahead of time that premiere is. But we're super excited. It looks like SD's crime maze got disconnected again and is reconnected in the background. That's just worth its weight in gold. So a big collaboration coming up. I think you're going to be excited for that. I hope you'll be excited for that. And that should happen pretty soon. We're going to be recording that early next week on Tuesday. I think we're going to record it. And then when it gets premiered, I don't know 100%, but I will let you, once it's in the can and I know they're happy with what they got and I'm happy with what I got, then I will tell you who we're going live with and when we're going live, and we'll get that on the ground. And by the way, that in part happened because of Joe and I's trip to Moscow, Idaho, where 3 years to the date on the anniversary of the Idaho 4 murders, Joe and I went and drove around the town. That generated traffic. It generated people that came forward from Moscow, Idaho saying, by the way, if you come back, I've got stuff for you that I want to share. That's going to happen. By the way, watched your footage on the ground. Holy crap, I have some thoughts. Let's talk about it. Let's do a collaboration with your video because I want to talk about some things I saw on your video. So boots on the ground was a very good thing for us and the channel. So thank you again, Joe, for being part of that great experience. And I think that it was a good collaboration. Our humor in the car was well received. By the way, Joe, I went back and I watched some of the footage from the members only live. I think we were a little drunk. I watched myself on camera and I was like, oh my God, like I'm not just a little drunk. I'm pretty drunk. Like that was maybe a mistake. Like I almost pulled it watching myself. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like Robin, I didn't watch the whole thing. Should I pull that video?
You were pretty toasty. I was both of you were pretty toasty. But I don't think pull it. No,
I was only that one night from the room.
Yeah.
Remember, we were driving around, and then we were going to continue when we get back to the room. And we got back to the room, and what's in the room? The boxed wine.
Yeah.
So that was blaming on the boxed wine.
Yeah, and to be fair, like I don't think, we didn't lose any blackout times on the camera, but looking at myself and how squinty my eyes were and how red and bloodshot my eyes were, I'm like, wow, I think we tied one on that night. It was a little, but I don't think anything inappropriate was said. It just was not the best look, but that's why it's members only content.
Right. It was hysterical is what it was.
So anyway,
the chat was on fire too. We got to give credit where credit is due.
We're like
they were the ones who, they were like egging us on to keep going after we
of
did our
course
drive around. And I think we were already kind of on fire driving around with the bird seed and the me shitting on your camera the whole time.
Right.
Oh my God.
And then when we got back to the room, it was like, things got loose.
Yeah, and I want to make it clear because you almost didn't say it clearly enough, Joe. We didn't start drinking until we were done driving around. So we did not drink and drive. For anybody who thinks we might have been drinking and driving, we went back and said, when we get back to the hotel, let's have a glass of wine, which turned into maybe another, and like 8 glasses of wine in, we're like, we're doing it live. We're doing it live. And, it was a hell of a night. So anyway,
entertainment.
Entertainment. So I want to talk about something here that I want to show. I don't know how well you're going to see this. Let me put it full screen. So I'm doing a redesign of my website. This is the front page of our website, kind of off to the side. So it's maybe hard to see which part is my website and which is branding of the slide. But this is the devil's in the details. It says that's from the website, my new kind of like logo and theme, and the way that Amanda B and I are working together as a collaboration to get a little cooler look to the website. So I wanted to show that a little bit, and I wanted to show off this. I've really always believed that timelines were going to be a huge part of how to keep the facts straight in the case and put links and hyperlinks to videos and court documents, stuff like that. So if you look on the left-hand side here is the page, for example, for Idaho 4, interactive timeline. It explains how it works in the color coding system. What you see in the next picture over to the right-hand side is a big table that you can sort multiple ways. It's my top 4 theories. Brent Kopacka might have been the killer. Jack DeCoeur might have been the killer. Brian Koberger may have been the killer. Maybe it was a drug hit. Those 4 columns are basically taking a fact, like we know that on this date this happened, and here's what it would mean if Brent Kopacka was involved, here's what it would mean if Koberger was involved, here's what it would mean if so-and-so was involved, and I kind of color code it in white is a solid fact. It's 100% verified. You can look it up. There's no question that's the case, that it happened, and then it's red for I can't prove this at all, but it's rumors that are out there, but I think that it's worth considering. Yellow meaning it's more than just a rumor. There's actually some receipts. Green, there's a lot of receipts, but you still can't prove. So it's kind of like a color-coded stoplight thing. Think of it as red, yellow, green. Green means go. It's pretty good. And if it's white, there's no question whatsoever. So if you like that kind of idea, the table is pages and pages and pages. And trust me, it is not even remotely done because I've got all kinds of court documents that are in there. Mostly it covers the crime itself, a lot of the timing of the crime itself, a few details about people that may be involved in the crime, but it needs to be fleshed out. I'm going to continue to work on it. I'm going to build this table on a regular basis. I've already started to work as well on the which the other case I was built. Oh, Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is the next table I'm really fleshing out. So that table is already posted, Charlie Kirk. But again, it's really bare bones. I'm still working on it right now. But I'm going to get all of these interactive timelines. So I'm going to start pushing more and more for people to really take advantage of that. Go to the website. And if you're looking at it and you're like, DA, why don't you have such and such a detail? Please fire that at me in an email. Tell me the detail you think that belongs on the table and where it belongs, and a link to the video or wherever the source is that you got, and help me build that table. And I think it'll be a great resource for all true crime enthusiasts that are trying to put together what really happened that night. So I'm hoping that this will be a collaborative effort. We've talked about this before, Joe and I talking about getting a mind map together, a way to lay out all the different theories and kind of come together as a team. So this is my contribution, the interactive timeline, and I'm really hoping that you'll take a look at it and spend some time. And if you don't, screw you, I'm going to do it anyways. All right, so my cases, I cover 5 cases, as you know. I'm going to pull us up on screen so you can see our lovely faces while we talk about this. Brian Koberger in the Idaho 4 case, we're still talking about it. Yes, I realize somebody just busted my nuts again today. My God, get the fuck over it. This case is over. Stop talking about it, DA. You're disgusting. Oh, by the way, I do have a video to feature about how disgusting we are as human beings for talking about the Idaho 4 case. We'll cover that in a minute. Tyler Robinson. I say Tyler Robinson, but I'm becoming more and more convinced we need to title this on my page, on my website and everything, as the Charlie Kirk story. Because again, I'm more and more convinced, and I know you're going to say, oh my God, dude, do you think anybody's ever guilty of anything? I'm more and more convinced that what happened to Charlie Kirk is probably not Tyler Robinson. And so to call it the Tyler Robinson case would be a disservice. It really is the Charlie Kirk case, and it's the mystery of who killed Charlie Kirk. So we're going to rebrand it. In fact, next slide you see, it may actually just say Charlie Kirk instead of Brian Koberger, because while he's not the killer, he is certainly the big name, and I'm not sure Tyler Robinson is going to end up at the end of the day being the guy that really did it. But we'll see. Luigi Manjoni, the case of the alleged shooter of the CEO in New York. We're going to talk a little bit about him as well tonight. Rex Heuermann, we're not going to talk about him tonight so much, I don't think so. And Mickey Steins, we are going to talk a little bit about Mickey Steins. So we're going to talk about, Mickey Steins, the sheriff, the former sheriff that shot the judge in the judge's chamber. So we're going to talk about Brian Koberger tonight, Tyler Robinson tonight, a lot, Luigi Manjoni a little bit, Rex probably not, Mickey Steins a little bit. So, And I will leave room for my guests. Trust me. However, it is my show, so I talk a little bit more. Oh, does anybody know this individual right here? This is oh, for fuck's sake, Viviana, right? Is that the creator?
Yes.
Am I getting that right?
I think so.
So I want to what I want to do is I want to highlight something that she called me out, and she basically called me a disgusting human being, and said that I must have a miserable life, and really took me to task on being on Birdie's show and playing the song Pretty Much, because and to be fair, Birdie and I were dancing to Pretty Much, and she highlighted us dancing and then mocked us as being one of the most disgusting human beings she's ever seen for mocking someone's pain, and stuff like that. So I thought I'm going to go ahead and make an attempt to play it for you in its entirety, because now I will say this. on the surface, I get her point. It does look pretty bad. In fact, I think I've prefaced the Pretty Much song by telling you this may not be in the best taste. Some people might find this offensive. However, we've also stated that when you're dealing with stressful situations like this, sometimes a little humor is a way to kind of blow off steam, and you need to have a little bit of thick skin, especially if you're going to go out there and you're going to make a ton of money off of it. So I admit, when you look at it from the way that she frames it, we do kind of look like a piece of shit. But I want to talk to you about it as a panel, about whether or not people making humor, making memes, because I got another great meme in the Charlie Kirk thing. I mean, I got a great meme in the Charlie Kirk thing, but you know, it's the same kind of thing. Somebody can say that's fucking disgusting and distasteful. So where is that fine line? I want to get all of your opinions as my panelists on where is the fine line between blowing off steam, making light of something. Because by the way, my view is give your thinking caps on when we talk about this. My view is sometimes humor is a way to allow people to talk about the difficult things that they don't want to talk about. This is what I think South Park makes its money on. They take really controversial topics and they make it funny so that we're allowed to talk about something that is very difficult to talk about. They give you the freedom to talk about it because they make fun of it and they make it a joke, and that allows us to have the conversation and go, did you see the South Park episode last night? And you have the bigger topic because it was, you know, some people kind of really disrespectful, but it allows you to talk about it. So, all right, enough of that. Let me see if I can fumble my way through getting this person shitting on me on stage. So let's see. I'm going to remove. No, I think it's already on stage, but what I need to remove this. Oops, remove this. I always have a little bit of a struggle to get this going, but I think I'm going to get better at time. Okay, Chrome tab. That is that. Should be sharing audio. All right. Woohoo. I think I've got it. Add it to stage. All right. Do you see the video? You see the video?
Yes.
All right. You see it full screen, pretty much. Pretty much.
Pretty much.
All right. Again, she's going to make me look like a piece of shit. So bear with me as we all suffer through this a little bit. Can you hear it? Tell me if you can hear it when it comes on.
Let's talk about what I'm going to play next, because this is not okay.
This is real or not. She danced with the dog and sang a song. I don't recall. I'm so lost inside my mind. No one answers when I ring. Was it real or just a lie? Can I tell you what happened? Pretty much at 4 a.m. something happened. Pretty much.
Everyone is super nice.
It's actually really good melody.
No, it is. It's actually
It's
really
really
good melody.
It's catchy. I
want to play that in my car.
Holly, do you mind sending me the name and timestamp of this? I want to go back and listen to this again.
Okay, that was a parody song that somebody used AI to write about Dylan, and then sent it to Birdie, and Birdie played it on his show, and then it made its way to a group of the TikTok, I call them desperate.
By the way, right off the bat, that pisses me off. No, the person did not fucking send it to Birdie. They sent it to me, and I aired it on Birdie's show. But okay, I just had to say that, like, somebody made this AI thing and sent it to Birdie. No, I was airing it on Birdie's show. For the record, anyways, point being, let's go back to her shitting on me. Let's go.
Someone in her comments said, I think I pretty much like this song.
All right, here we go.
They're big conspiracy theorists, and they think Dylan was involved, and they've got a hard on for her and Bethany, and it's just disgusting. But
ugh, the video has gone to shit. Like my syncing is horrible. Let me see if I can get it to replay. Here we go.
Imagine being so horrible of a person that you would write a parody song about the worst day of somebody's life when 4 of their friends were brutally murdered after somebody broke into their house.
So
and then the people.
I'm sorry about the syncing issue. If it's happening to you, we're just going to listen to her words, I guess, because I can't get it to sync back up. So let's just keep going with her words.
People replaying it that are laughing while listening to it. Like, how horrible of a life must you have that it makes you feel better to laugh about what happened to Dylan? Okay. Parodies are not for things like quad murders. Yes, I do parodies. I've done parody AI songs. I just did a parody video about Sam Darnold throwing 4 interceptions. Okay. That's a football game. Quadruple homicides, home invasions, etc. Crimes are not something you write AI songs about, parody songs about. And they're not something you laugh about. And all of you were on your high horse last night that Dylan somehow did something wrong and that she should be arrested. And I've said it before. I will say it again. Unless you've been in that exact same situation, you are lying if you say you know how you would handle yourself. You are lying. You can't sit there and say, "Oh, I would have called 911 or I would have done this."
All right. We've given her enough time. She goes on and on. But what do you think? I mean, it does make me look bad, right? I'm dancing and laughing at somebody's pain. Is that the way that comes across? Is that the way that plays? Does she have a point? Or are we being insensitive? What do you guys think about that conversation?
I just want to say real quick. It's first of all, it's law enforcement and the media's fault, because if they would have clarified everything, like the 8-hour delay, and pushed harder on it and questioned all the inconsistencies, it wouldn't look like such a fuck show to everybody. So these people that are these, sort of pie in the sky white knights coming to these people's aid, who, if their story is true, were completely negligent with this whole situation. So people don't believe their story. That is why people don't take them serious as victims. So I think that needs to be considered right out of the gate. And so she's clearly the type of person that just swallows official narratives. So I don't take those people seriously.
Excellent. Okay. Anybody else have some comments or feelings about
sure.
that?
Sure. I could jump in here. So from my take, everyone knows here what my job is, and I can tell you that, after 20 years of doing law enforcement, officers all the time. I mean, I'll just say first responders. It doesn't have to necessarily be officers. It could be firefighters, definitely EMS, paramedics, definitely. Maybe not immediately when, a situation is going on and we have to render immediate aid, or, we have immediate action that we have to take. But I can tell you there are probably many times, and I actually had a conversation, I think, with Lee not too long ago about this. With all the definitely for officers, with the body cameras that are out now, there's going to be a time when there's going to be a case or something is going to come up, and we're going to see possibly some officers or whatnot joking around or whatnot. And what you have to understand is it's not that the officers think light of the situation. You know, like this I don't know, social media, whatever her name is. She's saying like, oh, you don't know how it feels to be in that situation and whatnot. So no, I don't know what it feels to be in the situation of having someone break into my house and I had friends killed and in that sense. But I know what it feels like to be on scene at a homicide or in a situation where I've seen tons and tons of blood or stuff like that. And there are many cops that they will make some kind of jokes or a lot of times you'll see why this is a horrific car accident or whatever happened. Why are the cops like laughing on the side and whatever? And you have to understand that it's a coping mechanism. So would you rather? People forget sometimes that we're human beings. We're not robots. So would you rather the first responders go home and bury themselves in a bottle or go into some kind of, have some kind of, go into a major state of depression or whatnot. So it's really a big coping mechanism to deal with it, and that's really a way how we deal with it is to have some laughs, have some comedy. It's not that we think the situation is funny, it's just our way of dealing with it at the time. I mean, when it's one thing you guys see things on TV or you see a movie, or even if you see things on TV and it's a real life situation, it's another when you're right there day after day, actually seeing people. I've seen a 10-year-old boy who was shot from a stray bullet, and I basically saw his last breath. These are some really difficult things that weigh on your mind. And sometimes some comedy and whatnot, it's just it really helps you deal with the situation. Now, specifically when it comes to Dylan, this social media, whatever her name is, she clearly doesn't, she hasn't seen the interviews. I mean, the 4 interviews I think that have been released. I believe it's 4. Dylan is clearly a liar. I'll call her a liar. I mean, every interview she gives, she tells a different story. She doesn't remember stuff. Waiting 8 hours, 9 hours to call 911, and she's got a GoFundMe page of over $100,000, right? So I don't even really see Dylan as a victim, but just in the sense of, if you want to say she is a victim, it's a way of coping, and it's a way of dealing with it. So
I appreciate that. And again, I realize that some people are just not going to be convinced that there's ever a time to do that kind of thing. The problem that I have, and I'm going to get your opinions, by the way, Estes and Joe. I got Joe's first, didn't I? Or I think Robin and Estes maybe need to weigh in. But anyways, yeah, like I said, I feel like people miss the boat, that we're more in my opinion, we're more mocking the inconsistencies in this case, right? That's what we're mocking. We're not mocking a human being. We're mocking that this case is a joke to some of us. It makes no sense. The story makes no sense. That's what we're mocking. It's that most people in America with critical thinking skills knows that story does not make sense. So it's not an attack on a person. It's not the way it's supposed to be taken. Estes or Robin, do you have a comment that you guys, which one of you want to go next? Either one of you on this topic?
Go ahead, Jason.
Okay, thanks. I will.
No, Viviana, that's part of her shtick. I'll start with her first. You know, I've watched numerous videos. I think part of her shtick is to be hypercritical of certain creators. I've been critical of other creators, but I think for good reason. And I don't have any problem with that parody video that you did, Lee. I think it's awesome. I think human nature, we laugh at a parody video like that because, as Joe said, and you said, Lee, you guys are right on. And one said it too. We don't consider, I don't think we do, necessarily Dylan as a victim. Now, if others want to consider a victim, fine. But when you dig into the case and the facts and what makes and also what doesn't make sense, I don't think Dylan and Bethany were real victims. And you get homicide investigators from the very beginning, and they come on, Survivor, and they think that they're victims. I don't think so, and I think clearly they've been told to lie, in my opinion. And there's no justification for an 8-hour 911 call delay. I don't think it's ever happened in history. I don't think it'll ever happen again. But I know why, and I'm not going to get into it today. In my opinion, I think I know why, and it's not right, and they need to be called out for that, I think. And again, I don't even think a real crime took place personally, but that's just
right. And that's worth noting. I mean, if a crime didn't happen, then once again, the whole thing is a mockery and the whole thing is a joke, and and that's one way of looking at it. Robin, do you have any thoughts that you want to add or not?
Yeah. Pretty much just, can I tell you what happened? Pretty much.
Well played. We might. I do have the song queued up, and it could be considered bad taste, especially in light of everything. We may play us out again tonight with that song if you guys aren't sure what we're talking about and you want to hear it. I just want to make one more appeal to let you know that one of the things that I do at Devil's Advocates is I talk about grisly crimes where people get murdered, and I put a touch of humor on it, lightheartedness, to try to make a difficult and controversial subject something that resonates with people, and you can understand, and you can put some of the stress away. So not everybody's going to appreciate that. Some people are going to call me to task. They're going to say that I'm a horrible person who has a miserable life and should be shot, or whatever you want to take the extreme. I will say this. I'm not going to shit all over Viviana. She has the right to do what she says. I do think some of you do have a comment, or a good point. However, if she makes her stick just shitting on other people, how about go make some content? That would be good. Like, if your content has to be existing because you're shitting on other people, how does that make you a person? And I might retort if I was an asshole, but I'm trying not to be an asshole. That's got to be a miserable life if your whole life is about shitting on other people. But anyways, point being is I don't want to be an ass. I don't have a problem with people criticizing me. I thought it was worth taking a minute like we did tonight to just at least discuss, were we wrong? Were we wrong for making fun of that? Were we wrong for playing it? Is there
Absolutely
ever a right time?
Absolutely not. You were not wrong, Lee. Not that I have all the answers, but I'm telling you, you were not wrong, and our guests agree. I'm sure most of your audience agrees. Viviana she's not correct in this. She can have her own opinions, but we won't worry about her. We'll shake her off, right?
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So I'm going to go back to our presentation here, maybe, and let's go put this on screen again. And all right, let's see if I can put this up. I really would be great if I got better at this. Wouldn't that be great if I got better at my job? Anyways, Tyler Robinson. So before we move on from Idaho 4, is there anything big on your guys' mind? There's some topics that are going around. I am paying more and more attention to what Lana is saying every day, what Pop's saying every day, what Harsh is saying every day. So I know that there's some talking points out there in the wind today. I'm not prepared to weigh in on those talking points, but if you guys feel that you want to ask a question about some video you saw today, I want to give you the space to do so before we move on from Idaho 4. Go ahead, Estes.
Thank you. I just thought hopefully it'd be interesting for some of you out there, especially for you Nancy Grace fans. Fans or not fans. Nancy Grace, I caught her today and she's going on about how Brian Koberger, he's balking at paying for the urns for the victims and the expenses. So they're running with that. Koberger, he's not paying for the urns, man. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, I bet they don't even have urns because you guys know. But anyway, Nancy's on fire. Nancy's on fire. Yeah.
Any other comments that you guys want to ask questions or comment about the Idaho 4 case?
Yeah, I just had one little thing. I was listening to Birdie on the way home, and he had someone on, Dago, I guess. They played the clip of Dylan where she kind of, it sounds like she says she refers to Homeland Security, and she cuts herself off, kind of like Christy Gonzalez did about Maddie just bought a house.
Yeah.
She kind of does that, saying Homeland Security, and then she catches herself.
Whoa.
And in light of, you know, the multi-jurisdictional task force, what we've all talked about and everything else, I thought that was interesting. So with that, I'm going to say this one last thing, and I'm going to turn it over to if one or anyone else has something to say about it. I'm starting to think more and more that Brent Kopacka was involved in a trafficking operation. And I sent you the book that I've been talking about. I haven't read yet. That's the Fort Bragg cartel. I just sent you that graphic just because I think it's relevant, because Payne comes from, you know, ultimately comes from Fort Bragg, and so did Kopacka. And so I just always thought it was too coincidental what happened with Kopacka, and that it was no follow-up on it about it. It was just, we were given this quick narrative, and then they just kind of, that was it. And we never heard much about it in the mainstream media, and no follow-up. So more and more, I'm thinking that he was somehow involved either in trafficking or involved with the multi-jurisdictional task force in some way, shape, or form.
And Joe, Homeland Security, from my understanding, they're involved more with sex trafficking than even narcotics. I could be wrong. You know, the P. Diddy case, Homeland Security, again, involved. But I'll try to double check that or you can confirm that, but that's my understanding, you know. I find that interesting.
And the book that Joe, you know, from State of the Deep is talking about is the Fort Bragg Cartel Drug Trafficking Murder in the Special Forces by Seth Harp. That book, I think Joe said he hasn't read it, but it seems like it would inform things behind this case. And one of the things that I like to do, if you watch my channel, I have a lot of books that I read to inform the cases, and I read the books chapter by chapter for members only to go along with me, and I share my thoughts. How would this chapter relate to our true crime case? It's not for everybody. It's not going to be publicly consumed stuff because it's just never going to be hit well with the algorithm. But this is the kind of book I might pick up and digest as a book reading. It's kind of like a book club. I read the chapter. I don't read the chapter every single line. What I do is I take highlights. I read the chapter ahead of time myself. I highlight the sections I want to talk about, and then I read the highlighted sections and tell you my thoughts on them. So if you dig that kind of content and you want to, in fact, you know what? I was talking to Robin about this. What we need to do is try. Oh shit! What I need to do is that. What I want to do is I take a quick poll. I'm going to take a quick poll in here. I'm going to start a poll and say, are you interested in a book discussion about Fort Bragg cartel and how it might relate to Idaho 4? Let's do a quick poll. Yes, no answer. Start the poll. And see if that generates some hits. So I'll run that for a little bit. So I got some voting coming in right now live. We got 6 votes at 100%. Is that right? Yep. Looks like 9 votes at 100%. 13 votes at 100%. 14 votes at 100%. All right, 15 votes. So yeah, so just a quick sample. It looks like on the fly. Some of you are interested in a book discussion about this. So I might do this like I've got a million hours on my hands. I can just pick. I'll do it. I'll do another book. I'll just add this to my book collection. So on my website, by the way, you need to make sure you're subscribed to my channel. You need to make sure that you look at my playlist. I have a playlist with several books. Let me tell you really quickly. I think we're going to do it. I think there's enough interest. I see 16 votes, 100%. Nobody's saying they don't want to. There's 17 people and 100%. So there you go. We'll end the poll. That's good enough for now to get a thought process. But in case you are not aware, I've done a full book on the Luigi Manjoni stories. We read the book that Luigi Manjoni allegedly told us that we need to read, which is called An American Sickness by Rosenthal, I think was the name of the Elizabeth Rosenthal, An American Sickness. It informs how bad healthcare system has gotten in America and how it's raping American citizens and destroying our country. That book was an excellent book. We did that whole book. We also did When the Night Comes Falling by Howard Bloom in the Idaho 4 case. I started to do James Patterson book with Vicky Ward and quickly lost interest in that book. So we kind of put that aside. We've done some other teaser books that didn't get very far along, and we're doing a heavy book series on the Charlie Kirk case, One Nation Under Blackmail by Whitney Webb. That's ongoing right now. So if you're interested in those kind of long, deeper dives, that is something to consider. All right. Anything else on Idaho 4 you guys want to talk about before we move on?
Yeah, I'll jump in. So Dylan had another interview, and I believe the interview that Birdie was talking about, I think that the interview that we haven't seen took place before the most recent one that was out. And I think they have in the documents, we know that Dylan she was actually interviewed by Homeland Security and the FBI. So that's an accurate thing. So like food for thought. Why is Homeland Security interviewing Dylan in a homicide case? So
I would argue, Joe.
Yeah,
I would argue the answer to that question, and I would need to double check this, but I'm telling you, the only thing I believe makes sense for Homeland Security to be involved in Idaho 4, the only thing that makes it even remotely their jurisdiction or their interest, is if it involves drug trafficking into the United States from someplace like Mexico or something like that. That would maybe make it fall into the purview of Homeland Security. I will argue the counterpoint. There is no reason for Homeland Security to get involved with local murders in Idaho.
Right.
That is not a national issue. If anything, it would be a federal investigation like the FBI. The FBI might be involved, and the FBI left Moscow and Moscow PD in charge of that investigation and didn't officially run that investigation, even though they were obviously heavily involved. There is no reason in my mind for Homeland Security to be involved in that case. The fact that they were tells you that it might not just be a simple murder, like they said.
Right. And then the other thing, I think some people were talking about today, was stuff about the books that came out about the murders and Kohlberger and all that stuff. It would have been really interesting. Obviously, Kohlberger pled guilty, so there's no trial. But remember that for some of these books and documentary series, I know there was one on Netflix, right, or Peacock, or there's a few of them that were out. There are people who were on the witness list that gave interviews on these different shows and in the books and whatnot, and stuff that they said in these books and on the documentaries. There would have been a lot of, I really feel there would have been a lot of contradictions and whatnot. So Ann Taylor was going to have really a plethora of arguments against these, because some of the questions, some of the stuff that's asked, so it's like, oh, well, you gave an interview and you said this, and you were interviewed for this book, and now you're saying this. So which is true? this is why this stuff should not be allowed and should not happen. You know, this wasn't going to be a fair trial, and the fact that again, I hold. I'm sure it's above him, and someone's pulling his chain, or you know, whatever the issue is. You know, Hitler. You know, he holds. He held. He held the hammer, right? How he could make some of the decisions that he made. I know, you know, Esty says all the time, this was a show trial. If there was ever a show, some kind of show, courtroom expedition, this was it. I don't know what arguments, you know, it's a lot of people want to attack Ann Taylor, or she should have done this, she should have done that. I mean, I don't know what some of the arguments, what she could have said. I mean, how could you possibly not have a tainted jury pool when you have documentaries and all kinds of stuff coming out, basically painting Kohlberger as this crazy, psychotic incel stalker? You know, it's insane to me.
And I know Jason Estes had a comment that he wanted to make, so hopefully he holds on to it. But I do want to address a little bit of the issue of why Homeland Security is involved. There's also a very, very strong support that the federal marshals were also involved. There was a group of what they call the cowboys who showed up, and it looked like when you looked at the footage, the cowboys had federal marshal badges on. So one has to ask, what the hell federal marshals were doing there? What the hell the FBI is doing there? What the hell Homeland Security is doing there? What the hell multi-jurisdictions, Moscow Police, Idaho State Police? Why so many different agencies involved in just a murder? Now, I'm going to give you a couple of different rundowns on that, just real quick. And hopefully, again, Jason Estes has a remote chance to hold on to his thought. Write a note. So the point being is that, okay, Kohlberger crossing the border from Washington State into Idaho arguably can make it a federal case. So right there, the FBI could be involved because of that. But here's the thing. The FBI didn't prosecute this case. That's what's really super interesting about this. The FBI was involved from almost day one. Weeks they had been into the case before Kohlberger was named, and they're the ones that actually gave the tip to Moscow Police on who to look into. And it could have been that involvement can be explained by crossing state borders, and yet they didn't prosecute it. Now, one thing I would say is that tells you something. The feds don't take cases that they don't believe they can win. Did the feds believe that they couldn't win that one, or that they might not win it, and so they weren't going to take it? And if it had been a slam dunk, the feds indeed would have taken that because they want all the credit. Would it have been an FBI federal case had they thought they could absolutely slam dunk win it? I think so. So the fact that they didn't do it tells you a little something. They knew it wasn't going to be a slam dunk case, and they were going to let MPD take the fall if they blew it. That's my opinion. But all the other jurisdictions, well, Idaho State Police, you can also understand Idaho State Police because in a crime this large, you're going to reach out to all the help you can get. Moscow PD would naturally reach out to Idaho State Police, in my opinion. That's not a problem. What is a problem is Homeland Security and the federal marshals being involved in it. That makes no sense to me unless you've got drug trafficking involved, unless you've got, for God's sake, something like Jason Estes is saying, it's a whole extraction operation and nothing really happened. It's a psyop. Then you might get federal agencies like Homeland Security and whatever involved. To answer somebody's question that said, well, doesn't Idaho border Canada? Yes. A part of Idaho touches Canada. Yes. However, it only comes into play if the killer crossed the Canadian border into the United States. That's the part we're missing on that. The Homeland Security isn't going to be involved just because it touches Canada unless it has a connection to Canada. So either drugs are running in or the killer is coming in from Canada. That might explain the presence of Homeland Security, but not just a local murder in Idaho State. So lots of questions. Hopefully, Jason, you gave a chance. I don't even remember the question we asked, and hopefully you do.
I'll just run with it. Just a few things. You brought up Canada, my powerful country as well. Your next door neighbor. I found out that we have a WITSEC program. Again, the Federal Witness Security Program, the Witness Protection Program in places like Labrador here in Canada. But rest assured, I will never believe the girls and Ethan are in Labrador. They would be on a warm beach. I've said that before. But anyway, brilliant analysis from you again, Lee, and your guests. I think a lot of this has to do, as you guys have said many times, and we know this case has opened our eyes to the drug running. Apparently, that's going on in Moscow, Idaho. And again, as you said, drugs from Mexico coming into to places like Moscow, Idaho, Washington State. So the U.S. Marshals are involved, and the U.S. Marshals would be involved. I'm sure one I would think would agree if, again, there's a witness protection program in this scenario with the students having to be extracted. Those are my thoughts on that. And finally, I just want to say to the amazing audience out there, stay tuned, because I hope to do a video, hopefully in the near future, on exposing the likes of Howard Bloom, as Lee mentioned briefly, his book, and the other author. I'll focus more on Howard Bloom, because I think there are clearly misinformation, disinformation agents working with intelligence community, with the feds. Howard Bloom has put out a lot of lies apparently in his book. I haven't read it yet. And he was on Drunk Turkey show, saying Brian Kohlberger is the one and all this horse shit. So those are my opinions on Howard Bloom, and we'll expose him thoroughly sometime on the video. That's where I'm at right now. Thanks for allowing me to say those thoughts.
You bet. You bet. So thanks for the panelists for weighing in on some of those thoughts. Some people are still in the chat are kind of asking questions about, well, what if it's touched a state park? What if drugs were involved? The problem is, remember what the official story is. An incel who couldn't get laid killed 4 people. End of story. Where's the drug angle? So if you're asking questions, well, what if it was drugs? You're right. What if it was drugs? What if the story they didn't tell you in America wasn't true? That's the whole point that we're trying to make. The story they told you probably isn't true, and it's got all the telltale signs that this case is not what they said it was. But yet, why is so many people saying this case is over? The guy pled guilty. It's done. Really? Where are the drugs? Why is Homeland Security involved? Why is anything that happening? We have so many questions that make no sense if it was just an incel who couldn't get laid. That's the whole point. Right. So, all right, let's move on before we lose time in the evening to a little bit of Tyler Robinson case. This is actually, I want to say, I think I'm going to retitle this slide to Charlie Kirk, because it just makes more sense.
Hey, again, Lee, I hate to do this. I hate to interrupt you, but I've got breaking news right here about this case. Candace Owens 2 minutes ago just posted, "You honestly cannot make this up. Footage of Tyler Robinson turning himself into police does not exist. The footage simply does not exist anymore, or maybe it never existed in the first place." Anyway, sorry. Literally just popped up 2 minutes ago. I thought I'd throw that at you and see what you think.
Yeah, well, let's take a moment to talk about that, because police stations have cameras. He's the biggest criminal that is, for shooting a massive political figure of Charlie Kirk. You're telling me they don't have on camera him turning himself in with his family and his representative in law enforcement that convinced him to turn in? There's no footage of that whatsoever. If that really is the case, and I'm not doubting, but we have to, I like to check receipts before I run with things, so I'm a little hesitant. But if it's true, what does that tell you? How could there possibly be no footage of the shooter of Charlie Kirk turning himself in?
I think that's a question for one that I'd love to hear his analysis, especially on that part.
It's impossible. It's impossible. Yeah, I mean, if that's true, then the whole thing is fabricated. It's a whole story. And just even to add on that, there's some talk that even the picture or video that shows the alleged Tyler Robinson in the hallway, or not the hallway, but the stairway going up to the roof, may not even be from that day. It may be some kind of pre-recorded thing that was done. It's alleged. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but
yeah. And I think, like I said, I mean, the official story, for those who don't know, is after the shooting of Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson was on the run for a while. He was, and then eventually the family started to put the dots together. Oh, that looks like the rifle that he had, and hey, his son's not responding and whatever. And they reached out to him, and then they had a friend a family friend who was in law enforcement that talked to Tyler and basically got him to say, look, you got to turn yourself in. I'll go with you. We'll all go turn you into the police department. And they all went together as a group, allegedly, to turn Tyler Robinson in. That footage better fucking exist. I mean, I cannot even imagine any scenario in which you don't have that as one of the biggest things to film. So even right now, I'm telling you, it must not exist, because how did we not see it already? Now that I'm thinking about it, how have we? Look at what they did to Luigi Manjoni. They perp walked that guy with a helicopter, and the mayor of the city came out to perp walk him with the surrounding of cops and machine guns to perp walk him all through New York City. That's how it should have looked with Tyler Robinson. So you're telling me there's no footage of Tyler Robinson turning himself in? That's a red flag.
Well, you know, like I always say, how, you know, you get further away from the event, all these different details come out, and you get further away from some important details. Let's not forget that there's a CIA-funded program, literally, at the school that Tyler Robinson's went, mysteriously dropped out of after one semester. And it's literally CAI is the program.
That's,
I mean, to me, that's what happens when an operation happens. Like, it's not what the media says, it's what they don't talk about. Because any real investigation would be like, that's kind of weird that the CIA has a program in the school that Tyler Robinson went to. Of course, they're not going to say that, because, as I've said from day one, this was an operation. And if it was a foreign country involved, the CIA would have known about it. And if our intelligence, they would have had to have been at least in the know if it was an operation, which I think it was. But I think that CAI program, it's the Center for Anticipatory Intelligence, where they recruit students. So I just think that's a really significant detail in this whole case.
Yeah, and it's insane. It's insane to me. It's like, it's one of the biggest red flags. I want to talk about one of the other big red flags for me. And it's funny because as Candace Owens, who again seems to be, if you're covering the case, you have to know everything Candace Owens says. I got my own thoughts a little bit about Candace Owens, but we're gonna still have to, you know, if we're covering it, we have to know what Candace is saying. I'm a little bit bothered by Candace's recent, really hitting heavy the Egyptian airline flights that came into Provo, Utah for 6 days, I think she said, before the shooting. So I think the shooting was on September 10th. I think maybe she's alleging that the flights of Egyptian Airlines, this is one of the jets right there. I think it's actually the jet, one of the two jets that she said came into Provo, Utah, with 14 Egyptians on board, allegedly, rented cars and whatever. She's claiming now on a recent video that you can't land a foreign plane like an Egyptian airline without getting clearance from the U.S. government. So the U.S. government knew they were there. They were there on the ground days before, and now she's hinting that there was an individual, and it's caught on camera. It's caught on interviews of a guy that looks like Tyler Robinson casing the rooftops days before the shooting. All these kind of things. Did a team come in? That's what she's hinting, that a team's coming in. What bothers me a lot about this, before we move on a little bit, is I remember, Joe, I think I might have been with you. Were we driving when the shooting happened, or did we already part ways when the shooting happened? Maybe we were back home.
No, I was back in Colorado.
Okay.
The morning you and I were communicating.
Yeah, we were texting each other, right?
Right. And then it happened. I saw it. I saw the footage like minutes after it happened, because I happened to be on Reddit, and one of the pretty gruesome videos, if you believe that the event really happened, popped up. And I saw it right away, like immediately. And then I texted you, and I was like, dude, you're not going to believe what just happened. And we started talking about it. And then I followed it. I was on vacation, so I had the time to follow everything that was coming out right from the jump.
And one of the things that I think you'll remember is I think you were texting me and you were telling me oh my gosh, there's all this talk about a plane that turned off its transponder, a mysterious plane that left the area right after the shooting and whatever. I remember this discussion happening pretty much the day of the shooting. That's how fast I remember hearing about it. What bothers me about this is now we're having all this new stuff coming up about planes that were in the area that flew in before the shooting, flew out after the shooting, things like this. And I'm like, my God, we were hearing about the plane and the mysterious plane that had a transponder or dropped off a radar the day it happened. And it was never picked up by mainstream media, as far as I know. And now here we are back to the planes again. It makes me now question that first source. Did somebody know something right off the bat? Because it almost seemed like, I even told you at the time, I'm like, so a plane dropped off the radar. There's a million explanations for that. And I didn't put a lot of thought into it. But now all of a sudden, everything is because of Candace is around these Egyptian air flights that came into Provo. And I'm like, shit, was somebody tipping off very early? Look into the planes. Like,
I know.
Well, the first plane was a sleuth, a web sleuth, because a lot of people track flights because of the history of these crazy events that have happened. And like at the Las Vegas shooting, people were doing that because I follow that case. And other cases, they go and they look at nearby, were there any planes leaving right around that time, etc. So somebody, a web sleuth, put up the flight information pretty quickly. And but I agree. I always say this: flood the zone. A lot of times people will just flood the zone with information to draw attention away from other things. That's why you have to look at things, right? If you're investigating, you pull the thread, right? You always have to pull the thread. But with the Egyptian plane, I believe, and one can probably confirm this, it was not like a commercial flight. It was a government plane, right? One, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yep.
Which is very significant, right? Because that's not just like, oh, there was a Egyptian air flight.
Right. No. It wasn't commercial.
I know who was on the plane, but I can't prove it. But reason, logic, common sense, in my opinion. It's another extraction removal public operation this time, audience out there. Kirk is on that plane out the back door, and I'll keep saying it. He's protected under the WITSEC program, most likely, this rich boy. And I will never believe, as I said, a professional makeup artist said it was so phony, this operation, all the way around. We could get into, I'd love to show the video sometime. If not on my channel, I'll show again, no blood on Kirk's shirt when he went down, no Freedom logo on the shirt. So was that a dummy? It certainly wasn't Kirk. It looked like being picked up off the ground. So,
and Candace Owens, Candace brought out that early on there was this article that came out on CNN, for example, and it quickly died in the mainstream media about a student that recalled seeing a man a couple times on the Lossie Center roof where the shooting allegedly happened from. And she played a clip. I listened to her clip. To be fair, that interview sounds super staged to me. I don't know if any of you listened to the interview with the student saying that he saw the shooter there. Did I want to ask, did any of you listen to the actual audio clip that Candace played of that interview?
No, but I don't believe that Candace would have a staged interview. How dare Candace would do that? CIA connected Candace with the staged interview? Come on. But I mean, unfortunately for me and my critical thinking ears, I was listening. What it was is it was a student interviewing another student after the shooting about what he saw at the shooting. And she was leading him. Didn't you see somebody there a few days before? Yeah. Was he wearing dark clothing? Yeah. Was it black? Yes, it was black. In fact, was it this? Yes, it was that. And she was leading him the whole way. The whole thing sounded it really sent off alarm bells on my ears. But her point is that why was that followed up on? If somebody's saying that they literally saw somebody dressed like the shooter there days before scoping out the rooftops, and she's got a lot of good information. She's busting the balls of the lead of Charlie Kirk's security for basically passing the buck and saying, hey, we were told that somebody else was taking care of the rooftops, so we didn't worry about it. She's like, horse shit, you would have watched the rooftops. That passing the buck saying, hey, somebody else said that they got it, so we just trusted them. They had our rooftops. The whole thing is just a fucking shit show. In my opinion. So those are my kind of talking points of watching other people. Now I have a video
Have you? I just want to play. I want to show this on screen. Have you guys seen this?
Hi, Piggy. No. That's awful. Trump.
You know, they busted our nuts on pretty much. This one may go further than pretty much. I'm going to make an attempt to play this video for you. I'm going to warn you. I'm not political. But here's the parody for those, and because I'm not political, I want to make sure that my audience, who may also not be political, understands some of the key players. In this video, you're going to see Donald Trump mocked as the piggy. That's Donald Trump there in the Oval Office with his wig on as a pig. So it's gonna be offensive. It's gonna represent Pam Bondi in there with Kash Patel shredding documents related to the Epstein files. It's going to show it's going to show Candace Owens, I think, kicking Trump in the nuts. It's going to be some figures. So if you don't know who they are and their lookalikes are, there are lyrics. It's a catchy tune, like pretty much it's going to stick in your head. I thought it was funny enough to play. It's very political. And it's showing, by the way, a clip. In case I want to make sure if you don't know the history, Donald Trump and Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein have a history together. They've known each other for a long time. They used to be at parties together. And so there's a famous clip of Trump and Epstein at one of the parties, checking out ladies and laughing when it's a young Donald Trump. So when you see the clip when they're played several times, that is, they're making a reference to Trump's trying to hide his connections to Epstein. They've been buddies since way back in New York when they partied together, and there's all about girls and parties and all of that. And Trump doesn't want people making the connection between him and his buddy Epstein. That's a lot of what this video is. So while I dig this up on screen, I'm gonna let you guys talk while I pull this up, and because I'll have to fumble fuck a little bit. So cover me while I'm pulling this up.
Do you have any creative license over this video, DA? Or
No. In fact, I hope we don't get any kind of content violations on this. I mean, it's on YouTube, or actually it's on Instagram or one of those places. So let me see if I can pull it up here. Let's see. It's this one.
I hope they show my CIA queen of the Hangouts, Candace Owens, in a good light. I like her at times. And then
all right. All right, so I've got it on screen. It seems like it doesn't let me pause the video, so I have to keep rewinding it when I put it on, which annoys the living piss out of me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first and foremost wait till it gets near the end of the video. I'm going to go ahead and put it on in the backstage area to be presented when it's ready to roll. So we're going to go share the screen. We're going to share a window. We're going to share the piggy video. Hopefully it doesn't immediately put it on stage. It didn't. All right, so we're going through the video. All right, so I got to make sure the sound is on. It is on now. All right, I'm going to make an attempt to do this. Damn it, I'm going to put it towards the end.
I may have to leave in about 10 minutes, Lee. I'm going to stay as long as I can. I got family, not emergency, but helping out my sister very, very early in the morning. But always a pleasure to be here.
I can't pause this thing, but I'm gonna put it on stage. Do you guys hear it? Did you guys hear any noise?
No.
Not yet.
Now?
No.
Okay. All right. Let me
While you do that, one of the things that Candace does, though, that I have to say I really like, is when somebody shits on her, like everybody, frequently does, that she slams. She'll calmly read their post and she'll go, challenge accepted. Just like calmly, she just goes, okay, challenge accepted. Which if she says that about you, Estes Crime Maze, you better hope she never says that about you, because if she puts you in her sights, man,
Did you hear audio when I had it on screen for a second?
No, not yet.
Fuckers. All right, hold on. Damn it. This is horrible. One more time. I've got to get it right. Do it live.
Fuck it. Do it live.
That's the tab. And we're telling it to, oh, there we go. Share sound. This will have sound. All right. I'm going to be almost there now. Be careful of your audio. Okay. I'm getting a warning here.
To answer your question. question.
You hear sound?
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay, here we go. Ready? We're going to roll it. Again, political and offensive. We're going to have Pam Bondi, Kash Patel shredding documents. I think you're going to have Candace Owens depicted in here. You got Donald Trump as a pig. It's got a lot of offensive stuff, but just see what you think. Oops, put it back on screen.
Sorry if the files drop looking jiggy. Pam and Cash got a bit ricky. If I
Damn
look
it,
guilty, it's no biggie to answer your question.
Okay, hold on. It's driving me nuts with the syncing. Here we go. Let's try it one more time. Let's go resync and turn the sound on. Boy, I'm just freaking failing. Oh my God. Refresh the screen and sound.
Sorry if the files drop looking jiggy. Pam and Cash got a bit wiki. If I look guilty, it's no biggie to answer your question. Quiet, picky, quiet. Quiet, picky, quiet. Quiet, picky. Names in the margins, reading big wiggy. I'll flip flop and get ziggy. Broads in the press pool, getting a little diggy. I've got your answer right here. Quiet. Quiet, piggy. Quiet. Quiet, piggy.
It's horrible.
Epstein hoax.
Well, epic fail. I have no idea why my laptop is having problems crunching that sound. It's hilarious. You can look up Quiet Piggy in Google and get it pretty quickly. I thought it would be funny. It's less funny when the video doesn't keep up with the audio, but
I don't think again any true crime YouTube channel will play those entertaining videos like that except us. I'm guessing. That's awesome. Huh?
It's catchy too. Quiet Piggy, Quiet Piggy. Anyways, it's pretty funny. Well, I thought it was funny. Some people don't find that kind of stuff funny, but I find it funny. As Tosh.0 used to say, Daniel Tosh would say, if you can't find something funny about that, we can't be friends. But anyways, all right. I wanted to cover, I think that might be all I'm going to cover on, let me double check. It might be all I'm going to cover for the moment on the topic of Kirk. Yeah. And now we got Luigi Manjoni. I got a quick couple of things I want to show about Luigi Manjoni. Again, let's hope the syncing issues will frickin' work with me. I want to play two clips about Luigi Manjoni, one of which is going to be a video news clip not too long about Luigi Manjoni winning so again, for those who don't know about Luigi Manjoni, he is the alleged shooter of Brian Thompson in New York City, the CEO of United Healthcare, and he won a victory today when the federal judge agreed to allow him to appear in court during his trial in civilian clothes. And I wanted to play this clip about a news agency talking about Luigi winning this thing of being able to appear in civilian clothes. And then my friend, I will call her a friend because she said, yeah, we're friends. Ali Benevento from South Carolina, an attorney, did a video about the importance of this victory for Luigi Manjoni and how clothing makes a conviction sometimes. And she has a really good poignant point. So I'm going to hope to play both this clip of this news agency. I'm going to reshare it and make sure I got the audio shared on this thing, because that's where I'm failing all the time is, okay, I'm going to remove this from studio. Gosh, you know, I need a producer of my audio is what I need. Okay, share the screen, share the window. I need to be like Joe Rogan and be like, hey, could you put that on screen for me?
Yeah.
And then somebody else just does all the work. Then he can just talk. Wouldn't that be cool? That's what we're going for someday, is the day that I can say.
I'll be right back in 1 sec, guys.
All right. Okay, so also share your system audio. Got it. We're going to put it on screen now. Add to stage. We're going to go full screen with it. Cross your fingers that we have this audio. And here we go.
A federal judge has ruled Luigi Mangione must be given civilian clothes to wear on his next court appearance He's due back in court December 1st, and his attorney said he had nothing to wear. Manjon is currently being held in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. The judge ordered the Bureau of Prisons accept several items, including suits, sweaters, pants, and shoes for Manjon to wear when he is brought to court. He's accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson and has pled not guilty.
All right. Did you guys hear it?
Yeah.
All right. Now, this is a small thing. It's a small thing, but I want to show you a couple things. Notice the picture. Luigi Manjon with CEO murder right on the screen. It might as well just say murderer. It's showing Luigi Manjon in a jumpsuit next to CEO murder, which I feel subliminally puts in your head, this is a picture of the CEO murderer. It doesn't say murderer, but that's I feel that's what mainstream media is trying to do. They're showing you Luigi Manjon in a jumpsuit with the title CEO murder, so that you get in your head he's the murderer of the CEO. This guy hasn't had day one of his trial start yet. I mean, we're in pre-trial stuff, and already he's been depicted as public enemy number one, worst man in America. He killed an elite, and therefore he must pay. Now, I want to point out, and I hope the syncing issue, my computer is not a freaking, shouldn't be performing this horribly, but I want to put on Ali Benevento's response to this thing. And she makes a great point about clothing. And again, I'm going to probably have to pause her. Yeah, she's a very attractive woman. And I have to, unfortunately, dismiss all the comments where people saying, you're a piece of shit, DA, because this is looking at my TikTok account on Ali Benevento. So let me reshare it so we can make sure we have audio for her. And she has a great point about how uniforms, how you're dressed, including if you're dressed as an inmate with a prison jumpsuit on, how that tells you how you're supposed to think about a person. So let me, let's see here, share screen. We'll go to window, Ali Benevento, make sure audio is shared on the tab, share, we got it, add to stage. All right, turn the volume on here and take it away, Ali. We're gonna listen to a little bit of her talk about this here.
Filing in Luigi Mangioni's federal case. Yesterday, Karen A. filed a motion to compel and submitted a proposed order regarding something that might seem like it's kind of simple and a little bit silly, but is actually something that's really important. And that is Luigi's request to appear at the December 1st hearing in civilian clothing rather than in his jail jumpsuit. Now, Karen A is not doing this to make sure that cousin Luigi looks good or that he's cozy while they're sitting in court for days. This is really about larger issues of constitutional fairness, about due process, about preserving his presumption of innocence. All right, what do you think that this person does? All right, how about this lady? Why do we think that? Well, because they're dressed as a firefighter, as a physician. These are uniforms, and that gives us information that lets us draw assumptions or conclusions about what someone does or who they are. And courts have recognized for years that having somebody who is accused of a crime appear in court in a pretrial proceeding in a jail jumpsuit creates this unacceptable risk of prejudice. You know, that something appears or visual clues or cues will influence how jurors perceive somebody's credibility, how they perceive their dangerousness, or of course, ultimately, how they perceive their guilt or the lack thereof. A jail jumpsuit is kind of this constant, silent suggestion that the person is guilty, that they're wearing a jail jumpsuit because they belong in jail. Now, the Supreme
And that's the point I wanted to make. I think she nailed it when she said, what does this person do? And shows a firefighter. What does this person do? And shows a physician. You know, by looking at them, a lot about them. You know what they do and what they are and what they're about. So when you show Luigi Manjon or Brian Kohberger, for that matter, in a bright orange jumpsuit, you know they're a criminal. because you can see them wearing the outfit that says that's a criminal. So that's part of the problem. That's why we had the big fight over appearing in court in civilian clothes, because it prejudices. And again, as Ali Benevento was saying, court systems have long recognized that it prejudices juries against people. There are people who go to the jury and say, if the guy's been accused of something, of course he's guilty. Cops don't arrest people unless they've done something wrong. So there's dumbasses like that. And there are people who think if they see you in a jumpsuit, you're a criminal. That's why you're wearing that outfit. You did something wrong. So do you guys want to weigh in at all about that idea?
Yes, I do. We have a little situation going on in the chat. I'd like to remind everyone that we're all here to talk true crime, and let's be respectful of one another. There is a little button I have, and I'm not afraid to use it if I have to, but I really don't want to do that because we're having a good time. So please, guys, let's be respectful, okay?
Yeah, I haven't 100% paid attention, but it did look like it was getting a little squirrely in the chat. So first and foremost, I will say to take a moment aside from that is, if you don't like my channel, please find another creator. If you don't like the topics we talk about here, find another creator. If you think that I'm a complete moron, find another creator.
Yeah.
Just find another creator. Anyways, point being is that we're going to talk about topics, and if you don't like them, you have way better things to do with your time than sit here and get angry about us talking about things you don't like. All right. Any other comments you guys have about the whole idea about the presumption of innocence and whether or not a person gets a fair trial when they're paraded before a potential jury wearing a jumpsuit that says you're a criminal? That's why you're dressed that way, and that's why you're in cuffs, and obviously that's why you're arrested, because you did something wrong.
It's all an op. This whole case, is I again, I don't show me a case that's not an op, and I'll say I'll talk about a lot of different things and my opinions about it. But when something is a clear and obvious op, then everything that follows it is just theater.
And welcome, by the way, to Luigi Revolution. Luigi Revolution has been following me from the TikTok days, or I shouldn't say following me, but I see them on my stuff all the time. So welcome. I think what you're saying is that your name here, Silent Unchained, is also your Luigi Revolution, like it's a new name for you. So welcome, man. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. A lot of stuff gets posted to our Discord channel from Luigi Revolution, I think, and others that have been supporting this case for a long time. One of the things that I get criticized about from time to time is people think that all I should be about is Luigi Manjoni because he's the most important case in America. And all I got to say about that is there's no lack of interest on my part on the Luigi Manjoni case, regardless of whether or not Luigi Manjoni is or isn't a shooter. Once again, this is a person who's not getting a fair trial. He's already had his constitutional rights violated about 5 times. That needs to stop. People need to stop with basically having carte blanche to break the law in order to get the bad guys put away if he is a bad guy. And you won't know if he's a bad guy because he's never even allowed to have one day of a presumption of innocence based on the way that the media is treating it. And the publicity. The president of the United States, for Pete's sake, has called him a murderer and said he's a murderer. The attorney general of the United States has said if there's anybody deserving of death, it's Luigi Manjoni. He is a murderer of an innocent man. Having people at that level tell everybody in America how you should think about it before the trial starts is a travesty, in my opinion, and needs to be called out every single time, every day, and twice on Sunday. So, yeah.
Can I go state of the deep for a minute?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't do it a lot on your channel. I do it a little bit, but you have to think about the big picture, right? All the media outlets, basically every major corporation, but in this particular case, the media outlets, the social media companies, I mean, and on and on and on, things connected to it are all controlled by the same 3 or 4 global banks, right? So if you have a type of situation like this that big business is involved in, United Healthcare, by the way, I'm sure if you go on institutional investing, that company is, the major shares are controlled by those exact same banks. I guarantee it. I'll bet anybody for sure that's the case, as we've talked about, DA. And so Donald Trump is boys with all these CEOs of these banks, Larry Fink, etc. the CEO of BlackRock, also now the new chairman of the World Economic Forum. So when these cases come around, there's a lot of money to be made, and there's a lot of political stuff involved because it's healthcare related. So when I look at cases, and DA does this too, and 1-1 does it too, as a matter of fact. I hope most of you guys, I know Estes Crime Maze probably does it, but in the chat, I hope you guys start doing this if you don't already. Look at the companies and the organizations involved in the background, the peripheral players, because oftentimes you'll find those players seem to pop up a lot in these high profile cases. And so I frame things. What I do with every case is I frame it through that lens. That's why I always talk about these types of things. Anyway, that's my diatribe.
Yeah. No, I think, and I think we do try to do that even on this show, even though you and I, on the Deep Devils, will dive deeper into this stuff, because I think I have often, again, to plug my website, I have a whole section of the Luigi Manjoni thing called Follow the Money. It's all in green. If you follow the green text, we talk about the United Healthcare under investigation by the Department of Justice, the shareholders that were shorted money when the CEO of United Healthcare and United Health Group both cashed out a whole bunch of money of their personal stocks before it was made public that they were under investigation, and therefore got out where the money was good and left a bunch of people losing money on the deal when it came out they were under investigation. Follow the money is an important thing, and who they're connected with. And by the way, the lawyer for Luigi Manjoni has specifically said, let's see the emails between law enforcement, the top levels, and the district attorney, and the heads of United Healthcare and other companies. What has been said to Pam Bondi at the presidential level, at the attorney general? What has been said from companies to prejudice how we treat Luigi Manjoni's case? Because it's a lot about the monies and who's involved and what empires are going to fall. They want to make, in my opinion, an example out of Luigi Manjoni that the little people should not rise up against their rulers. That sounds horrible, but that's a lot of what I think they're afraid of. They're afraid of this case becoming the little guy fighting back against the tyranny of the elites that own all the money and literally make life and death decisions about whether we get care or not based on whether or not it makes their shareholders more money this year. And that's what at the end of the day, they literally employed AI technologies to increase the number of denials of claims so that people would get less care and the shareholders would make more money. That's literally what they're accused of doing before the CEO was shot. And that is a discussion we should not just sweep under the rug and say, no. This is all about whether or not Luigi pulled the trigger or not. Let's not talk about using AI to deny claims for Americans and thousands of people that die waiting for treatments that they should have got, but they were playing games with their insurance. That, to me, is the bigger issue. And that's why we're talking about it in my channel.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Then I'm going to have to cut it short tonight, unfortunately, with you amazing people. Thanks, Lee. I agree totally with what you and Joe have said. And I agree with, I think Joe said it a few nights ago on Luigi, that, we've said before, he's this good looking guy and he's up against, he's the perfect sort of candidate to go up against this evil healthcare system. I'm sure Joe articulated it better than I did. So they'll have him good looking in court, with his regular clothes on, and we'll see what happens. But I appreciate everybody tonight. I appreciate somebody give me a new subscriber. I'm sorry I didn't catch the name. Thank you for your time, everyone, and I hope to be with you again. I got a lot to do tomorrow, but you guys made my night again. Thank you, man.
As always, Jason, you are a real treat to be on my show. So thank you so much for being a part of this. And you guys, if you are not following SD's Crime Maze, check him out on YouTube. Give him a like and a follow and subscribe and all that good stuff. We need to get him to 2,500 so that Pavarotti would kick his ass in a ring. So if you don't know the story behind that, we'll talk about that later. Have a good night, man.
Fucking
Have a good night.
See you, Jason. Bye.
Thanks, Ron. Bye, 1-1. Joe.
Bye. Have a good night.
All right, panel and guests and denizens in the den. Do you guys have any comments, questions, things you want us to address and talk about?
Yeah, I want to jump in just quick. You were making a point before, DA, and I don't want to mess your train of thought. We got a new member to the den, Shy Dottie 247. Is that, did I say her name right?
Thank you so much for becoming a member.
Shy Dottie 247. Thank you for joining.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. It helps support the channel. We're, you know, this is my full-time gig. And believe me, for those of you who think YouTubers are rolling in the dough, we're not rolling in the dough. We're not even making a living. I'm not replacing what I was making working a 9-to-5 job. And I work more than 9 to 5 doing this. I know some of you think, get a real job, stop doing this shit. You're just talking shit. You got no value in life. I disagree. I think what we're doing here is good. I think what we're doing here is bringing light to important issues. We will always fight for the presumption of innocence and a fair and equal trial, transparencies in our court systems, and fighting back against corrupt law enforcement, corrupt judicial system, corrupt media that has been bought out and paid for, perhaps by our intelligence agencies. That's what Joe and I are hard on, is that, you know, our government owns the media. And so you get told what they want you to believe. So anyways, enough of the soapbox rant. Any comments that we should address? Robin, have you seen anything that in the chat that I know you've been paying more attention to the chat. Do we want to address anything that's been happening over there? Are we good with what you're warning about the fights that were happening or whatever was going on?
Yeah, that person's been taken care of. It's all good now. Everyone is settled down and hopefully having a good time once again.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Anybody else have any comments? The research and neutral, this is what I like. Marcy says the research and neutral standing is why I'm here, DA. So I appreciate that so much. I don't know that I'm 100% neutral, because I definitely do believe on calling out bullshit when I see it. So I'm not 100% neutral, but I think what you're meaning is that I'm not doing stuff just to be clickbaity. I'm not, because I could go a completely different route if I just want to spur everybody up into some random thing for the day that's all hot topic. Like, I will tell you when I think a theory has problems. I will tell you when I made a mistake. I will correct myself. So maybe that's what you mean by being neutral about things. I'll tell you both sides. And that's where she means by neutral, or he or she means by neutral. A lot of times I'll say, to be fair, here's the counter to my own argument. You've heard me do that, right? I'll say, this is the counter to my own argument. So yeah, this is what we try to do. And I'm glad that people recognize that that's something we do a little different than other creators, is we'll not only tell you what we think, but we'll even shoot our own theory in the foot if we need to kind of say, well, to be fair, I know it could go another way, but this is the way I see it. Any other comments? Sinful bitch is having an excellent time. That's great.
Yeah, we like that. We like that.
Love the nickname. Well, I don't really have much more, guys. You know, it's funny because I'm trying to organize my day, and more and more I've got my eyes on other creators more, not because I don't want to parrot what other creators say. However, people have brought to my attention, you can't cover certain cases and not know what Lana said about it today, or Pavarotti said about it today, or Candace Owens said about it today. There's just certain people that are known as the person to watch, and everybody who's in the case knows what they said today. So I have to know what they had said today. But there's a fine line, because I don't want to parrot what they say. So I'll let you know the things that I think they said right. I'll let you know the things that I think they said wrong. And if I think that what they said isn't worth comment at the moment, I won't comment on it. But I'm doing my best to keep up on the cases. I've got 4 or 5 cases I'm doing. It's an all-time job. And so it's tough, but I appreciate everybody that is with me for the ride. We'll do our best. Sometime I'm not going to do your favorite case as well as you want to. That's the problem I've always had. Robin, as a co-producer of the show, the problem I've always had is there's an argument to be made if you do 5 things instead of one. You can do one thing really well, or you can do 5 things half-assed. So I don't want to be accused of doing 5 things half-assed. By the same token, I think being a one-trick pony isn't good for our brand either, because I think these issues are big enough that we can talk about all these issues. So I gotta find that balance between doing 5 cases half-assed. Because again, if I'm doing 5 cases and somebody else, and I won't name any names, but if somebody else that's the only case they've got, of course they're gonna always be a little bit more on top of things than me. But I'm doing my best to keep you informed on all the cases that I'm watching and keeping track of. And I won't ever be the top dog at it, but I think I'll be okay. I'll be all right. But
hey man, I think you have a great balance of doing that, looking at different people without going, you know, where you're kissing their feet about their info. One and I talked about this. The reason why we bring up Candace is not because we think everything she says is gotta be 100% correct. It's just because she's close to the case, and you are open enough to consider, all right, well, I should listen to what she's got to say, right? She's close to the
Yeah.
case. So I think you do a great job of balancing it out, you know, as far as not diving in where you're drinking all of somebody's Kool-Aid, right? But it's okay for us all to kind of pick and choose different information from people that have been on it, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And as Marcy said, we're the only channel that has birdseed on our windshield. So there's that as well. So you can't, that's worth your money right there.
Right.
As a final thought, guys, as I let you go, I just wanted to say thank you all. I thought about playing this out with Pretty Much, but I think I'm going to let that go for tonight. I don't want to burn out that song. That's a song that's worth its weight in gold. I let somebody, and again, to the idea of being neutral, I gave a good screen time today to somebody busting my nuts and making me look like an asshole and ask the question, am I an asshole? Was that inappropriate for me to laugh at that situation? Maybe in the future, after we're in a little bit more funny mood, we'll replay that again for you because it's a highly requested song and it's hysterical. But in the meantime, everyone, go have a great night. Go fight true crime. Let me know what you guys have on tap so I can put my show notes together for tomorrow. Looking forward to another day, and I'll see you guys later.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.